Hello and welcome back to Building on a Budget Models for the second part of the DeLorean Time Machine in 1/24 by Aoshima. So this is the previous version of the DeLorean that I built, and I'll show you what I'm going to be doing today, and that's the moving parts here at the bottom that move the wheels. So you can see it's got there the driving mode, and then from Back to the Future Part 2 you push this along here, and it needs a bit yeah, there we are, and it goes into the hover mode like that. And you've also got this base here which fits into place like so for you to put the hovering car. So I'll show you how that works. Firstly, these parts are all on the same sprue and it's worthwhile leaving them unpainted. After finishing the bottom, and I'd also drilled through for the lights, you then needed to fit the central frame. Make sure that you get this the right way round, and then you've got these two brackets, one goes at the front and one goes at the back. Slide those into place and then this glues onto the base. I'm using Tamiya extra thin cement here. The instructions are quite helpful here, saying things like move this right to the back, have a look at the pictures to make sure that everything looks right. You can then glue this little control knob underneath. Also, I haven't painted this either. Make sure that it moves quite well. Then you've got a little pack of grease, which is the only kit I've ever seen anything like this come with. It goes quite a long way. Applied it to some of the places which would be moving. Look for the F or the R to determine whether these parts are for the front wheels or the rear wheels. These little frames glue together quite easily with some poly cement, and when they are gluing into place, I then just put this little axle hub into the kind of frame at the bottom. Then do exactly the same for the one on the other side. Then you slide this all the way to the back and put it into place so that the ends of them slot into the V-shaped groove in the middle of the kind of central frame. Then there's a cover that goes on top. Make sure it's the one with the F, and then you can use a very small flat-headed screwdriver to push this into place. Be very gentle, as getting replacement parts from Aoshima seems to be pretty much impossible. And there you are, you can see it moving. Now these small T-shaped pieces are the same for all four wheels, but they are very brittle and fragile. You may want to use a little bit of grease on the joining parts to help them get into place. If it feels like you're forcing it, then have another look, because you may have put it in incorrectly. And that moves the hub to make sure that the wheel either points down or out to the side. Put the other T-shaped part in the other side. And there you can see both of them moving really nicely at the same time. The rear ones look similar but are in fact different. This is because the rear wheels are slightly larger than the front. It's a good idea not to add paint to any of these. You won't see any of these parts, and they'll move a lot easier being in the bare plastic. So then move this all the way to the back, and just like the front ones, slot them into that V-shaped groove on the frame. Make sure that they're both pushed into the centre, and then use the covering part with the R to show that it goes in the rear. Again, using a small flat-headed screwdriver, push the clips into place. These don't need any glue, which is good because should you make any mistakes, they're easy to take apart. Well, not easy, but easier than it would be if you glued them. And there you are, you can see that both of these frame parts move. I then added some grease to help add the T-shaped part. Just like the front ones, be very careful as these are quite fragile. And there you are, you can see all four are moving at the same time. It's then time to go onto the wheels, finished in quite a nice chrome, and I used some black panel line accent to pick out the gaps. You then put a polycap in the back, and then this black disc needs to be glued into place. If it's not glued, then when fixing it to the hubs like so, it will just fall off. As I said before, the front wheels are narrower than the rear, so make sure you get them in the right place. And there you are, it's a nice action. It's then time to add some decals. Had these Goodyear Eagle decals from Interdecal, and also there is a small DMC centre cap that goes on as well. I made sure to sand off some of the Pirelli markings before fixing these decals on, just to make them look a little bit more like the wheels in the film car. Used some micro sol to help these adhere as best as possible. And here they are on the finished car. Also, you need to be very delicate because some of the parts are very fragile. So for instance, this one here, I snapped part of it, and as you can see, the wheel kind of flops around, whereas these ones, it stays in position. Fortunately, it is okay, but it's not perfect, as that wheel still moves around.